Welcome YouTubes to Vedius VOD review week 6. We're going to be looking at both G2's games. I've got both their drafts on screen. Both of them are under 25 minutes, so this will probably be relatively quick. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about their drafts. So, G2 decided to ban away Aatrox, Sejuani, and Jarvan. So a bit of a target focus onto Cold. Perhaps they're questioning his champion pool a little bit. I think they banned the Aatrox because they think it's just strong, and I think there are other things that they have higher priority on. But Sejuani Jarvan I definitely think is Cold directed. They're probably like, Cold isn't playing too well right now. Let's pinch his jungle pool. I can see it. And then yeah, I think they just don't want to first pick this, but it's considered quite strong in the current patch. And Alfari is playing really well, so I think this makes sense. Kiana ban, well, like, there are probably 5 players on this team that can play Kiana, so that makes sense. The Yuumi ban, Yuumi's just really good. Sylas ban, I think G2 is one of the few teams that still flex Sylas everywhere. We've seen in the LCK that you can play Sylas mid, and we also know that Jankos is a really good jungle Sylas. I wouldn't be surprised if you could also play Sylas top, but I presume that it's mainly a mid-jungle flex that they want to take off the board, and Sylas is still pretty strong, so they take that one away, but they do also leave the Yasuo open, so G2 unsurprisingly lock that in. You can obviously flex the Yasuo both mid and bot if you're G2. Wonder probably plays at top as well. I don't know if they actually let him play it though. I seem to recall at Rift Rivals that he was not the one that took the Yasuo top lane. They actually put Perks top, and then Wonder played something else in a different position. I think Wonder went bot. So I don't know if they actually allow him to play the Yasuo. I think there are only 2 Yasuo players, but they can flex into 3 different roles. So that's a really safe blind pick for G2. Azir Olaf, not really surprising. Olaf, I think, is considered one of the best junglers right now because of how easy it is for Olaf to like gain prio in the jungle. You win almost every 1v1 early on. You have like the fastest clear speed out of all the meta junglers. And it's really easy to basically do whatever you want on Olaf right now. So Azir doesn't surprise me, Olaf doesn't surprise me, pretty standard. Then of course G2 answer with the Gragas. Caps forced onto Corki because they want to pick Corki into Azir. And so now they can flex again this duo. Gragas can still go jungle, Yasuo can go bot, Yasuo can go mid. Is the music too loud? Okay, let me turn it down. Music should be like... Music should be better now. Sorry. This one. So yeah, Gragas can be flexed, both support and jungle. We've seen Caps playing loads of Gragas mid lane as well, so it's probably like... So just for context, like, these... G2's so annoying in their ability to flex literally everything. It must be so obnoxious to have to deal with them. Like, what do you... this is so annoying. Like, what do you ban? Anyway, yeah. So the only thing you know is Corki's mid, but Corki's also been played top lane, technically. Like, you would assume that this one makes the most sense into the mid lane, right? And then OG just picked the Rakan, because I think Rakan is, like, a very safe... I am quite surprised to see Rakan into Gragas. I personally don't know how good this matchup is, but I guess that they want to threaten the Xayah Rakan. Rakan is also just one of the best supports on 914. It's probably not a bad matchup in the event that the Gragas is support, but I could see how Gragas can do well into this. But yeah, so that I think this is anticipation of the fact that Gragas might not be bot. It could be jungle. They don't know. Right. Yeah. Any questions so far? Doesn't really make sense for one to learn Yasuo when they have caps and perks and both go to lane. Bum, bum, bum. Is the music better now? We can hear you now. Anyway. So OG bans with Lee Sin and Karthus. So I guess because they have their jungler, like, the automatic assumption is that Gragas is bot lane, right? Why wouldn't they put Yasuo Gragas bot? But I am surprised by the Karthus ban. I guess Karthus is one of the few that can match the Olaf clear speed. It scales well. I don't think it necessarily provides a huge amount of early pressure though. And the Lee Sin ban, like, sure, Jankos is a good Lee Sin player, but I've always considered... I guess Lee Sin is a better ganker, whereas Olaf has... Well, okay, so Olaf can gank, right? But because of the mobility of Lee Sin, he's better at setting up ganks. So maybe they're worried about giving this to Jankos because of how impactful it can be early, and Origen want to have control over the early game. Potentially. But see, I would have thought that Elise would make more sense if they want more magic damage. But like the Karthus ban is potentially because of the AP damage. They were like, well, they might be looking for an AP jungler, or they wanted to force him onto Elise because they think Olaf is better into Elise, maybe. Pardon me. Xayah Lucian both make sense. Xayah away from the Rakan, they've already committed to the Yasuo being bot, and then the Lucian as well, because Lucian is one of the few that can trade really well against Yasuo early on. So those two are taken off the board. So this makes it easier to put the Yasuo bot lane. Then they first pick Ezreal. Ezreal Rakan is a fine lane. Ezreal also is pretty safe into Yasuo and the Gragas, because you can buffer like your E against Gragas like running at you and stuff. So I think Ezreal's fine here. And then Kled is a blind pick, because right now on this patch Kled is considered really safe. You don't really lose many matchups. And then Elise is for a little bit early game jungling, allows them to play through top and bot. They probably won't do much mid because they can't really. It's Corki Azir. He can also go cleanse if he really wants to, but I don't think he will. So G2's comp has really strong 2v2 bot, especially once they hit like level 4. Elise could look to, on like the second respawn of the jungle camps, look to path bot and like set up a play. Maybe force some summoner spells out from these two. You could also look to gank top relatively early based on around Kled, but given that the Jax was locked in from Origin, this could be difficult. I don't know how this matchup goes early. One of the reasons why I think Jax is good into Kled though is because your W is a passive, right? So every time Kled engages, if you use your E, you block all of the damage that comes out from his W. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So you mitigate a lot of his bonus damage. You also just naturally outscale the Kled. And while arguably, like, you know, in theory, he has more teamfight value because of his ultimate, this becomes much more of a menace in a side lane. So I think like laning phase should be fine for the Jax. And so you would think about playing around top just to not only put the Jax behind, but also if you stack up a wave, this duo is really good at tower diving. With the reset onto Skarl and also the reset with Repel, they've got a lot of power. So I could see them like setting up dives onto this duo. And then we can see that they can also look to make a play at level 4 bot. Meanwhile for Origin, I think Azir, it's really easy for Azir to get priority over the Corki early levels, which means that Olaf can look to invade. Olaf will probably look to match topside because you want to make sure that your Jax has a healthy laning phase so that you can inevitably outscale. So he's probably going to leave the Rakan and Ezreal by themselves. They've got enough mobility to hopefully survive. So you would expect Cole to like maybe start bot, path up to top, hang around top side of the map, and then in the event of an early gank from Elise, he's there to cover and can help Jax push out the wave and basically be happy. I think this comp scales pretty well. In the mid game, it has a huge amount of poke. The siege is pretty good as well. It's like got a really strong 1-4. The Olaf falls off a little bit, and their teamfight value is kind of mixed, I would say. But I think that this comp is pretty good at finding picks. I think it's really powerful at playing towards sides. They have a lot of wave clear, and I think their Baron take is really fast. Meanwhile for G2, I think their comp scales exceptionally well, largely because of these two. They also have engage with the Kleds, and it's really easy for them to force objectives. They could also threaten doing a 2-man or a 3-man bar with the Yasuo Elise, Yasuo Kled. So I think both comps scale really well. I think this one is slightly stronger in the full 5v5. It depends on how much time these two get to like poke, because you've got to remember that this siege is actually pretty weak. It's not too bad with Corki, but actually getting close to towers is really difficult. So yeah, okay. Anyway, we talked a lot about that draft. It's probably going to be way more complex than the actual game itself. So anyway, let's watch what happens. Alright, put that on that speed. Have you seen the new Panther video? I have not seen the video yet, no. G2 will need defensive jungle vision to protect Elise from Olaf. Not necessarily. Because you just need to know where Olaf starts and you can figure out where the Olaf is going and then you can like trade and match. The biggest problem is, I don't know if early on in the laning phase, G2 actually have that many pushing. Okay, this is going on longer than I thought it would. Okay, so. Ooh, Origen did a bit of a sneaky setup up top lane. In the event that G2 wanted to try anything. G2 do a lot of level 1 starts, so you've always got to be careful of that. Quite like it. Looks like that they spotted Kled out, so they didn't want to try going over the Baron wall or anything. Excuse me. If a Rakan is ever locked in, you've always got to be careful of the potential level 1 plays because of his W being able to go through fog and like set up flanks and stuff. So we talked about how Cold may look to start bot side. I mean, it's also not too surprising given that you're on an Olaf, mana, that jazz. Alfari doesn't take a very favorable trade top. So Yankers is... Okay, they could both be doing full clears. Oh damn, Alfari, damn. So Yankos might be afraid, but I assume he's going to skip this and then go over here because Elise isn't very good at doing those. But notice how Olaf has already cleared 3 camps. That's what we talk about clear speed for. And then he's going straight to blue. So, pings are already coming down. They, Origen know that Elise is topside because this duo helped Leash. That's the word I'm looking for. But he's pinging that he assumes he's on Wolves and Blue, but he didn't know that he did Krugs. But it's taken about the same amount of time. So they have a really good understanding right now of where he is. And notice how they have push mid and they have push top. So they're able to get vision control topside. This means that it's going to be harder for the Elise to challenge for Scuttle Crab. And this is like some of the early power that Olaf has. Playing around his lanes. So the Elise is going to start blue. And Olaf is already making his way top. So notice how he's here to cover. He should be spotted out. He will be. This is just giving the freedom for Alfari to push. So we talked about this in draft. We talked about how Cold may want to path topside because Alfari wants to push the wave in so that you can get the wave to bounce back. And then you can threaten a kill onto Wonder. And so he was just preparing for a potential Yankos kill, which he exactly does. And then Yankos is kind of forced back because he realizes top has prio. So Jax is actually going to do an early reset. Nutuk is pressuring mid. Ooh, Mithy actually went for a bit of a roam there. That's quite interesting. Both supports are going to pass each other. That's quite unique. Wow, very early TP from Alfari. A very, very early TP. Gets an early Doran's Blade. Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. And Caps, you can see he's struggling in the early laning phase. So this is kind of what we expected. I didn't know a huge amount about this 1v1 matchup. You can see that he's a bit behind on farm. Looks like that he's trading health for pressure. Yeah, I couldn't exactly see how the laning phase played out. But it looks like that you can get a push. Ooh, Patrick forced a flash there. Hang on a second, I missed that. I was talking too much about top laners. So he actually abandoned his Gromp, Yankos, and then he moves through his bot side jungle to... I guess because he knows top scuttle is being taken, so he can't actually afford to get it. So he walks over a ward, they know he's walking over a ward, and he just gets it. But they saw him walk over the ward. They should know that this is happening. I'm surprised that they did that. They should have known. And then we see Olaf path up top again. So now the wave is set up. You can see Wonder's in a bit of an awkward spot. This is why we were talking about the bounce back. So you want to get an early push in so you can have the wave bounce back. And then around, once the camps are cleared and the jungler's like level 4, you can then look to set up a gank somewhere. Which is what they do onto Wonder. And they chunk some health out from him. He's going to be forced to base, but he can just TP back in. So after the Yankos reset, he's already pathing up towards top. Notice that his Raptors and his Gromp are still not cleared. And this is pretty bad for him because they're still like level 1, which means that he gets not a huge amount of XP from them. Perks and Mickey have also hit like the level 4, level 3 mark, and because Patrick was forced to burn Flash, and because of Mithy's kind of weird roam mid, he's actually down in XP. So now this duo bot actually has a huge amount of pressure. So let's just appreciate the fact that already 4 minutes into the game, G2 have already like punished massively what was just a small mistake in the 2 vs 2 bot. And that's why this bot duo is really scary. So what's Jankos doing? Is he just coming in for a lane gank? Oh, okay. So he's coming top so to help the Kled push out because he knows there's a risk of a gank. So he's just here. He's sweeping out some of the vision. He's like, okay, 2 fights are about to happen. They definitely shouldn't be fighting bot. Ooh, that's dangerous, Jankos. I guess Jankos wins because he was first. So he lands the cocoon and he gets his full burst combo off, and that just chunks Cold out. And then he can't turn and fight because Wonder gets to move faster. And then Cap's playing on the edge, as per usual. He noticed that Nuktuk had no mana, so there wasn't much he can do. See, but now the cool thing for Jankos is he's like quite far behind in terms of jungle experience, but because he found that really good damage trade onto Cold, this gives him access into the enemy jungle. But unfortunately for him, Cold started bot side and did a full bot clear, so there's not really much for him to take. The only thing you can look for is potential dive, which he won't find. But now he'll just move into... Yeah, no, I don't think he should do bot side because Cold will have reset and he'll be back out on the map. So he runs the risk of dying. So now his Croaks have respawned, but he still hasn't taken Raptors and he still hasn't taken his Gromp. So notice how pings are already coming down from Cold once again to tell his team where Jankos is, which is he's bot side. This gives Alfaro the freedom to play a little bit more aggressively. And so we'll see what he looks to do top lane. Alright, Mickey, you need to calm down, sir. So notice how Mickey is just invading by himself. Everyone is reset. He doesn't have any information on anyone. He's just like, yeah, I'm fine. I don't know. I'd argue that's a little dangerous. Oh, he just hits level 6. Oh. So I think his W is empowered. 1, 2. So I think his W is empowered, plus he has the third auto on his ulti. And he doesn't land it. He wanted to flash in, and Wonder predicts the flash. That's giga unlucky. I mean, there was a good play from Wonder. He reads it really well. But how does the trade initially happen? So we see this. So Alfaro has an XP lead, of course, because the wave is bouncing back towards Wonder. So he's going to hit 6. And it's actually Wonder who goes in on him. And he doesn't expect the trade back. But again, here we see how much damage is mitigated from the E. And then Wonder doesn't really have much. Yeah. Bit of greed from Alfaro and a nice outplay from Wonder. So notice, so one of the big things to notice is how both junglers are now massively different in terms of experience. Because Cold is level 5, Jankos is 4, and this all ties back into like how they cleared their camps. So one of the things that Jankos had to be careful of early game is having his blue buff stolen, right? Because he acknowledges that that the Olaf's clear speed is way faster than his. So what he does is he does red into Krugs. Now I don't have full insight into why he did Krugs. I think it's because if you do red into wolves into blue, you don't get enough experience to get 3. Whereas if you do Krugs, you do. I think that's why. But I'm not a jungle expert, nor do I fully understand how XP works in the jungle. That would be my logical conclusion. Logical conclusion. I don't know what logic I'm basing that off. I'm pretty sure Krugs just gives you a decent amount of XP. So hopefully someone in the chat can... My click queue bug. Look at my hook. Wait, what do you mean? Wait, we can backtrack. Wait, you're... I don't even see your Q. When do you use Q? Here? Oh, wait, there it is. See, look, there it is. That you just missed, mate. You missed. You missed. That's not a bug. That's you just being bad. Yeah, you can see it here. I don't. Does it work in the same way that Kiana's EQ works? That if you E through the Q, tags onto the nearest target. Is that how it works on Kled? Right, hitboxes are bamboozling me. Wait, no. So like on Kiana, for example, if you EQ, the Q guarantees onto the nearest target, right? Does the same thing happen on Kled? Is it the same thing? Or is it actually just a skill shot? No? Then in my opinion, you just missed, mate. Alright, then I think you just missed. How can I miss? I don't know. You're the pro player here. How far I went down, you went up. Alright. Wonder says it was a bug. I think he misplayed. We can leave it up to the fans to decide. Even if you land that Q, do you actually win though? Really? I think even if you land that Q, you lose still. Oh, actually, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, I believe your analysis. Continue. Alright, anyway. So, I was talking about junglers, wasn't I? I was talking about junglers. So you can see, Yang is in this bit of an awkward situation where I think this is his first clear of the Gromp. But because he did this path in order to protect his blue, he ended up losing his Gromp, which he couldn't clear because Olaf came to threaten and invade. And also took him ages to clear his Raptors, because after his first base, he actually immediately went to top lane. So Jankos has actually sacrificed quite a lot in order to support Wonder in this situation, but also his own blue buff. But like, this is one of the advantages that Olaf has in the other game, and I actually quite like what Origen did in the draft to allow them pressure in both mid and top. Yeah. Anyway, that was the only thing I wanted to say. So I'm curious as to how Jankos now like bounces back or catches up, because Cold's path is really easy to do. Oh, we got a full pro view. Here we are. Yeah, I just think you missed, mate. That's just my opinion. Wait, now that we actually have the pro view, we can actually just watch it in slow motion. Here we go, everyone. You tell me. You tell me. Did he miss? Right, so he presses Q. Look. He presses Q now, right? So he's pressing Q and his mouse is here. Now he's pressed Q. And now his mouse is over this. Alright. That's alright. I can understand why Wonder was like, this is a bug. To be fair. Bum. Oh no. Wait, no, look. So he presses Q here. This is when he's pressing Q, this is where his mouse is. There's a delay, there's a cast animation, and in that animation... Oh, actually, I wonder if the Q came out after his E. Maybe that's why it was delayed. Because in theory, right, I actually think Wonder's right, to be fair. To be fair to him. Look, he's pressing... This is the moment he presses Q. So his mouse is here, he's pressing Q here. For all intents and purposes, his Q shouldn't miss. But if it comes out at the end of the E animation, then it goes in the direction of his mouse. So it goes the wrong way. Moral of the story is, he's the worst player on G2. Anyway, moving on. Is it a bug? Is it just pro player mistakes? We will never know. All we can confirm is Wonder is the worst player on G2. Alright, what do we actually care about right now? So Jankos is caught up because of the weird jungle mechanic thing that lets you catch up once you kill junglers because the creeps died when you were at a lower level and stuff. Wait a minute. Alright. Why does this happen? Alright. Ooh, so they don't actually see perks. Okay, so we need to go back even further. Roll the tape further. So they steal Jankos' camps. Fair enough. This is actually fine, I think. So they actually have no idea where they are. And they just want to push. And perk stays in Fog of War. No, that's actually... This is pretty big brain. Yeah, this is pretty big brain. Even if they knew that Mickey was there, they didn't see where Perks was, and they weren't expecting him to be in Fog of War. So he gets collapsed on. No, that was big brain. I respect that. That was cool. So now, Cole is continuing his aggression to attack Wonder. But I think at this point, Wonder wins 1 versus 2. In my professional opinion. Oh, actually, does he? I don't know. I don't understand these champions. No, there you go. He doesn't. Oh, he was close though. If he uses his ult here, I reckon he wins. Yeah, I reckon if he ulted that. What? I wonder. I'm not sure why he didn't ult. It could have been because it was going to get interrupted anyway, so he wanted to try and make space so that he could ult away. And then the moment you lose thing, I don't think you can ult. But if he'd ulted right from the start, the moment he saw Olaf, I think he would have had enough damage to get the kill. Because you can see how close he is. He's literally like... and he probably would have built enough fury. God, Wonder sucks at Kled. Oh, bot lane died again. Alright. So, what we see from Jankos, the player we actually have to track here is Jankos. So, he does red after his reset, and he knows that Cold started blue. Right? So I think all they're doing here is because they have push bot and they know that Rakan was dead, they're using this as an opportunity to get some vision on the blue. Right? So they don't necessarily know if they're going for this objective yet. Then the moment they see Olaf top, they know that they can go for the invade. So then... Oh, they just dive him. They actually just dive him. Man. I mean, Pantry just needs to abandon this. Yeah, he E's over the wall, and then he gets chased down because there's a minion wave there. I guess he was trying to drop a ward to see what was going on, but he doesn't even have a ward. I actually don't know what Patrick is doing here. I guess he's queuing to see if, like, Gragas is over there, but he has no ward. Like, he can't check. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the minimap right now. I'm looking at this. So, notice here how... So, okay, we can go back a little bit, right? So, he can see Gragas move up. So, he knows Gragas is over here. Right? Oh, Gragas goes to clear out a control ward, and then he's going over maybe to land Q to get a Klepto proc, right? So this ward gets cleared out, they then jump on him, forces E out. Then he E's away just as the minion wave spawns, so they use that in order to get the collapse. Well, that was obviously a mistake, and then they don't take blue? Oh, because they want to dive. But he needs to be careful of this, he might not have enough time now. Yeah, he should be fine, because he has smite as well. Okay. But that was a good cross map from G2. Cross map. I don't know if it's called a cross map, that exactly. They basically traded... Oh, wow. I can't... That hit? Oh, actually, it's... That's well within the hitbox. Look. Okay, wait. Yeah, that hits. Damn. Mickey's so good, man. Mickey's so good. Alright. So where were we left off? Where did we get left off? So I assume the Elise takes Scuttle, yeah, and then goes bot, clears out a control ward, gets shoved away. Meanwhile, Wonder ahead in farm top lane. Pardon me, right. So, things we wanted to see from these teams coming into the game within the first 10 minutes. We expected Origen to look to try and play around the top side of the map, which is what we've seen. So I feel like Origen, like, they had a game plan, they played towards the game plan, they executed the game plan very well, right? The biggest issue was Alfari getting solo killed ultimately, right? That hurt them a lot. G2, they didn't really play around bot, they just outplayed them bot, because they did some cool, clever positioning with vision in order to find that 2 versus 2 kill. But also, I think that we've seen quite a few mistakes from Patrick and Mithy this game with, like, they knew that Jankos would trade bot Scuttle because Cold was top, which means that they walked into River knowing that the jungler could be there, and they end up burning their flash. So Patrick loses his flash early, which gives way more freedom for Perks to apply pressure, because Cold is also playing around top side of the map. They then set up a dive. Oh no, they find the kill onto Mithy, and in that small window, they also find the kill onto Patrick because he made a mistake. So I do feel like while the bot lane of G2 is playing well this game, we've also seen some pretty massive mistakes from Patrick and Mithy, which is ultimately what's put them in a deficit right now. What's Wonder doing? What is Wonder doing? Okay, so they know Cold is bot because he literally walked through all their vision. They had one ward. They spot him out. I don't know what Wonder's doing. I don't know what Wonder's doing. I actually have no idea. Why would he want to do this? Yeah, I'm afraid I don't have an answer. I don't know what Wonder's doing there. Doesn't make any sense to me. He's not achieving anything. So what does Elise do? So Elise is on Raptors. They know jungler's bot, so starts pathing bot. Cold realizes he can't find anything, so he doesn't bother. They push through mid, and then they relieve pressure bot. So they could set it for Drake now if they wanted to. Oh, and in this window, their bot lane roams mid. This is so good. Alright, let me explain why this is super good. Okay, so, you know people meme about Umayan, right? And how, like, I was trying to end the game. Okay. So, alright, so, so, what you have in League of Legends are these things called windows, right? And basically, when you push out a wave, you have a window in which you can make a play, because the enemy team is forced to catch that wave, right? So, we have to backtrack all the way over to here. So they see Olaf come bot, okay? So there's a risk of them getting pushed in here, because Origen have the numbers advantage, right? So what Jankos does is he's like, okay, I'll abandon my top side, I'll path towards bot to relieve some of this pressure, okay? You also have Caps push in mid, so he can also roam down. And now Origen realize, okay, we can't do anything here, because Nuke Duck has to catch this wave mid. And we have to play a little bit more defensively because our jungler isn't here. And Jankos could be here, right? So they back off, right? So, in this period in time, a lot of teams will just have their bot lane base. Or just kind of sit around and wait for the next wave. What G2 do is they know that they have 3 control wards littered in the bot side river. And they know that Jankos, well, he didn't just sweep it out. But they're pretty confident that this river is clear because they haven't had access to it yet, right? So they then move mid. He has the package. And they know that they can get a knockup with the package. So in this, bear in mind, this is an extremely small window, because Origen recognized that a roam is probably happening, or Drake is starting, right? So what the Origen do, but notice how they're still standing here. They don't know where they are. They could be in the brush. They could be anywhere. So they're playing defensively, and they're like, wait, what if they're on Drake? Let's go check if they're on Drake. So they're not expecting this mid dive. Cold is going over to this. He's doing his Raptors, and they're like, okay, let's see if they're on Drake. And then all of a sudden, 3 people show up mid, instantly killed. That's just so good. No other team does this. Alright, they end up trading back 1 foot. Wait. Okay, this play was a lot bigger than I was expecting it to be. This is just so good. And meanwhile, Jankos still gets to farm his jungle. So he then just paths back bot, he takes Scruggs, and he can make his way up towards bot top. So he's not even like that far behind in terms of jungle clear either. And this is just G2 efficiently using their time. They're like, so what? We lose a wave bot, we gain a kill mid, and we get a bunch of plates. So now they're 3 versus what should be 3, right? So they lock Perks underneath the tower, which is good, because he doesn't have his flash yet, and he has no way to get out. But then a really good Gragas ultimate from Mickey actually knocks Mithy into all of them, and they trade another 1-for-1. So it ends up being a 2-for-1. But like, this is a great example of how G2 like maximize the time that they have. Like, they don't waste time. They actually just, okay, we have a window here, what can we do? And I don't know what their comms are like. I don't know if they're actively saying, hey, what can we do? Can we make a play? Or if they're always looking for plays, or if they're just like, oh, we can come dive this. But like, very few other teams do this. And it looks small, but they keep doing it. And it's like, it's almost like they're really efficient in how they play League of Legends. Because what's Nuke Dog supposed to do there? Who expects that? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Really good play. I mean, I think it is smart to contest here because they don't want to give away all these plates. Because with Jankos here, they could have threatened the tower. And they at least get a kill back, but... So now Origen's in a sticky situation, because Yasuo now has a completed item and has 3 kills. So they can actually just leave him bot lane. His flash is down, but... Okay, so they can't just freely leave him bot lane, but you see what I mean. They haven't been able to... Like, they've gone Alfaro through a potentially difficult laning phase, and while he's down, he's still going to outscale. That should be an inevitability. So Mickey's on the roam. And now Origen have priority around Drake because of G2 expending all their resources to make a play mid. Now Jankos actually paths up towards top. You'd imagine that that's because he's going to trade Rift Herald, because he knows that Origen have so many members bot side. So they know where the jungler is. Cold is still lying in wait, and instead they go for the gank instead of Herald. They actually go for the 2 versus 2. Oh man, and they're gonna win as well, aren't they? Well, I mean, that G2 cheated because they had teleport. So now we've got to backtrack. So both mid laners have TP, but obviously Cold is bot side. So the moment they see the gank appearing top, Nuke Duck TP's top to assist his top laner. This is a good play. Caps also has TP and he's just base, so he's able to TP in as well. Wonder can't get involved in the fight, and this is actually a 2 versus 1. But Alfaro doesn't have the HP to just hard commit onto Caps, and Nuke Duck ends up losing the trade because, well, Caps has literally just based with the Trinity Force and has the level advantage. So, unfortunately, pal, you lose this. And Wonder continues to just not do anything. But he doesn't have to. He's only going to be an ultimate later anyway. So bear in mind, in all this time, what was Cold doing? Cold should have been trading for a Drake. They have full vision around this area of the map, but instead he roams mid to get push, which is answered by the duo of Perks and Mickey, and they just get some wards on... No, they don't even get any wards on Rift Herald. I don't know. In my opinion, Cold should have looked to trade for Drake here. Now they're pinging back. They're just running back to Drake. Okay, if they get this collapse onto Perks. Yeah, even so. I still think that... I don't know what Cold is doing in this whole play. Like, this is ultimately greedy from Perks. Like, Patrick does a good job baiting him in here. He ends up costing him his flash, though. And there's not much that G2 can get off the back of this. But I think, like, Origen have spent so much time not really doing anything. So, look. Caps TP top, killed him, based, and is back on the map by the time this play is finished. So Origen can't even convert this into anything else. Because you'd think that they would now try and go for plates, but I would imagine that the Corki can just roam down and hold. You should be able to anyway. Yep. They can challenge for this. They can 100% challenge for this, because Kled still has TP. Right. I mean, like, ultimately the Yasuo is not there. But I think this Drake from Origen was also pretty greedy. Because, like, okay, so again, they have two options here, right? They either have the flanking TP from Alphari, or they end up taking this fight with Jankos on his way. They didn't really have many wards for Wonder to TP to, but they end up trading 2 for 1, and they get they don't secure the Drake, but now they've pushed Origen off, and they can actually play for mid tower now. This is what I'm saying, like, so I hate the word tempo, and I don't we don't really use it, but basically, if you think about every play in League of Legends, there's a certain amount of time that you can look to make a play, right? And it's almost like a turn-based system where you kind of, both teams ebb and flow back and forth, and you kind of take it in turns. Depending on where you have pressure, it determines how long your turn is and who actually gets to make the turn, right? So because Origen tried, we actually have to go all the way back here, right? So in this play, both teams are making plays in different parts of the map, right? So if both teams are taking their turns, then you end up just trading, okay? But what ends up happening is G2, they take their turn, right? They make their play. The Elise comes top and the gank happens. The answer is TP. So in this moment, in order for Origen to maximize, what they should do is the Drake. And the reason why they should do the Drake is because in the event that they get kills top, they'll get kills top plus the Drake. Whereas G2 should only get kills. But what ends up happening is Cold runs all the way up towards the top lane to try and help. So they don't get any objectives off the back of it. The play goes south for them because Caps also has TP. So they don't get any kills, they don't get any objectives. So now G2 is resetting. Now in this period of time, OG can look to try and make a play as well, right? But again, they're so slow on the play itself because they're so far away from any objectives that, like, G2 is still trading. So Wonder is getting plates while this play is happening bot. So G2 is only getting more and more advantages while Origen is getting nothing. So now you look at the state of the map, right? Jankos hasn't based yet, but he doesn't necessarily need to because he can heal off of the camps, right? But again, he's still pretty low. He hasn't reset. But Caps has. Mickey's full health, ready to go, right? While they did lose their bot lane, Wonder also just reset. So in this whole period of time, in this whole play, Wonder has more gold, Caps has more gold, like they've just spent their gold, they're feeling really good, they have all their health and mana. Cold hasn't done anything in the period of time, so he's gotten stronger, he hasn't gotten stronger, he hasn't gotten stronger. The only person that's stronger right now are these two, and they died, so they didn't really get that much stronger either. So now, they're still trying to force a play onto Drake. And even though it looks like a 2 versus 3, remember Caps is full health, he's just gone back to base, he's really strong. So this isn't actually a 2 versus 3. In terms of gold, this is pretty even. And Jankos is on his way, and they have teleport. So, like, I don't know how to best describe this. It's like, Origen couldn't really make this play now. Not really. It was greedy to do so, because G2 had plenty of time to challenge it. And the thing is, because now all of G2 is back out on the map, they get to take even more, because Origen only now are they resetting after the whole 2-minute play. So they're able to move towards the mid tower and secure this objective. And Olaf tries to... And Cold still doesn't reset. Right? So after this play, after they secure the Drake, he runs bot, and then he runs to his wolves. This is terrible. What's he doing? I love Cole to bits, but his decision making this game has not been very good. So G2 find a punish onto him. Because they're killing him, they're unable to get the tower, and so they take that trade. But they gain pressure bot. So now the game accelerates because it's G2. But again, it's like an ebb and flow, back and forth all the time, right? Depending on who has pressure, allows each team to make a move. So Origen is now back on the map. Wonder needs to reset because they just got these kills and stuff. And so Origen are first to move into the river. The problem is G2 recognize that they have enough people here to be able to challenge. So notice here, they're first. They get to enter the river even though Wonder's already there. They want to try and catch Wonder out. But the rest of G2 are in a position to challenge. And then Perks is on the flank as well. All they need is a Gragas ult. He doesn't have it yet. I don't know. The problem is they also have no vision. So this play is really dangerous in and of itself. But they think, well, we've got our Fari coming, we're fine. Wait, Nuke Duck goes in? I don't know. His decision making here is, I can catch Jankos while the other two are retreating. Oh, insane repel from Jankos. Actually, insane repel. He turns into Spider... Oh, wait, no, it's because he lands QW, and, okay. QW, whoop, whoop, boom. Really well played there by Jankos. OG's a bit all over the shop, and they lose the bot tower. This game's getting out of control now. So, OG have no control anywhere. They've just been losing tower after tower. They haven't been able to get their side lane ahead. They've been losing every fight that they tried to force. Corki's 5-0-2. The Asso has 4 kills. Game's over at this point, if you ask me. They just have so much gold, and G2 knows so well how to use their gold. Honestly, they're a very clean game from G2. Very, very clean game. Wonder's been the only weak point of this whole thing. XD. Jankos hangs around his top side of the map. You can see Cold is doing the same thing on the bot side. They hang around the Azir in the event that Perks tries to go for an all-in. Perks plays it defensively. G2 are ahead in the play, so they have a little bit more time, so they can keep pushing top. Meanwhile, OG recognize this, so they choose to disengage, and Perks is just wasting time delaying the backs. So now all these members are up top. They're extremely ahead of the play now, which means that the likelihood of them losing this tower is very high, but with the arrival of Patrick, they can't gain much, so they push out bot, they push out mid, and then they reset. And they have so much time now to base, restock their vision. And the thing is, there's no Baron yet. So they're actually just going to keep pushing. I guess they've got nothing that they want to base for. They just want to keep stealing away camps. Oh, now Wonder bases. No? I think G2's staying out on the map a little long. But I'm not quite sure how much gold they have. I guess they're continuing to steal away camps. Which is really big for them. At this point, the only hope that Origen have is that Azir somehow comes online, but notice that he is 4,000 gold behind camps. Oh my word. So now they're translating their pressure bot. It's difficult for them to siege, we already talked about that. Now they're diving onto Wonder. Oh, Wonder! I hope we get a replay of that. Oh, hi, Papa Smithy. Wonder is the weak link. Wait, I really want a replay of this. Whoop. Alright. Let's get the slow-mo on. So, he sees the Olaf hit. He's like, right, gotta clear out the minions as quickly as possible. Uses them to take the dash. Tries the ult. Gets interrupted. Does the double dash. Still buying time. Now, remember that Olaf using his ultimate actually removes his resistances. So, he's actually taking more tower from the damage here. More tower from the damage. More damage from the tower. But Alfari is the main damage dealer. And he has flash. So, he flashes over the wall. He knows he has to stopwatch here, because if he takes that tower, Wonder uses Q and gets the kill. So he has to stopwatch there, which gives Caps time. And then just as Alfari jumps in, Wonder jumps over the wall. Excellently played, Mr. Wonder. You have redeemed yourself. And now Caps in the 2 versus 1. You'd think this would be impressive, but let's not forget, he has 9,500 gold. Oh man, that's actually really unlucky from Alfari. That's so unlucky. Feels bad, man. Pretty sure the game's over. Oh man. 20 minutes. 8k gold lead. What is the thing that G2 do best that other teams could learn from that isn't player power roster constructor related? I talked about this a little bit earlier on. It's how they use their time super efficiently. So, very small windows, they're always moving around the map and they're looking to try and make plays. They're very opportunistic and they're extremely efficient. Like, whenever the enemy team is doing something, G2 is doing something else. The only reason why a play can happen one side of the map is because G2 can make a play somewhere else. And very rarely do you see players in positions when G2 cannot answer for something. So they're always trading, and usually they always uptrade, which is where a lot of their mid-game leads come from. Efficient is how I like to describe them, because they're just so good with their time. So good. So let's see how they end this game now. So remember, they kind of rely on Baron because their siege isn't the best. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. Corki's relatively short range. Oh man. So at this point, there's no real use of pressure. So like mid has been pushed in, right? But the reason why they can do this is because they have this kind of a gold lead. Like, what does Origen do? But notice again how it's 4 people. 4 people are moving. Like, they push one wave and all 4 people move into the enemy jungle. So if Origen decide to fight, G2 are guaranteed to win it. So even though they have an overwhelming gold lead and Origen can't really do anything even with just the 3 people, they don't risk it. And again, like, this is why I say they're opportunistic. Like, who would make this play? Whoop, we can do it. Ult into Q. Executed. Out. Easy. Let's steal the camps. So opportunistic. That was not a gamble. That was a calculated risk. And they're like, well, you know what? Why even risk running the steal? We have so much gold. Remember what we were saying earlier? We can fight them, so let's just fight them. That was a single auto. Bye. Oh my god. Man. Origen made a lot of mistakes this game. I wasn't impressed with what Cold's decision making was in terms of his path thing. I mean, like, so his very early game was fine. Him playing around topside was actually fine. But when things were happening on the other side of the map, it felt like that he made some poor decisions. And there were a couple of examples this game of Cold not making the best choices. But at this point, I don't know if there's much left to review. They just have so much gold. They're just brute forcing their way down mid lane. Just waiting for minions. They don't care about the side lane. They have pushed. Excuse me. They have top lane pushed out as well. Kled can just ult. Yeah. That's what I thought. Just zone him off the tower. They have so much gold. There's no reason not to dive. This is something I don't see a lot of teams do either. Just push their advantage. The game should end here. Yep. Forget the side lanes. Just group mid. End it. We need to use the Baron, so let's use the Baron. Alright, Mickey. What was that? Alright, Wonder. I've decided Mickey is now the worst player in this game. You have been exonerated. I think that's the correct use of that word. Oh! Alright. Main takeaways from this game are G2 is super efficient. They're really smart about how they move around the map and how to use pressure, and just they're so opportunistic. Very small things that you don't think should work, they make work. But they also just, whenever they make a play, whenever a play happens, they're in a position where they can make a play elsewhere. And it's always a constant trade of pressure. All the time. So if OG went top, G2 would either match or they'd do something on the other side. All the time. Every single time. Laners were in the right place at the right time. People would always reset similar times. Very rarely were people overextended. The only exception this time was Perks down bot lane. And like that was really the one caveat to what I'm saying, where G2 couldn't really trade after getting that kill. But the rest of G2 had reset, and what Origen should have done after getting that kill is either just play for plates and reset, or well, I think that's just what they should have done. Instead they go for a Drake, a very risky one as well, and they end up getting punished for it. So yeah, that kind of does it. Origen looks super shaky, man. Super shaky. I really hope they clean it up. Like, I don't know if like Nuke Duck necessarily played poorly this game. Maybe some of the plays, his execution could have been a little bit better. But like, he got shut down hard, especially early game. G2's really good at snowballing lead. Anyway, that does it for this game, so I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you for watching on YouTube. You can check out the next one if you want. Yeah, see you in the next video, stream, blah blah blah.